Man. Okay, so this is actually, I personally find this article awesome. As creepy as all hell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
It's not fair. You guys get sued.
so
Yeah.
we bust the chops of IFing Love Science all the time, and I'm gonna give them a little bit here too. But their article this week was incredible, right? So the article was entitled "Letter Written by a Possessed Nun." Decoded using software from the deep web. So I have to read through the details of this because it blows
This
my
was
mind.
hundreds of years ago.
17th century.
Wow.
So 1600s, right?
Yep.
Yep. I always hate that.
Yeah, it's always.
That's ridiculous. So back in the 17th century, a Sicilian nun wrote a letter claiming that she had been possessed by the devil, not a demon, by the devil. Over 340 years later, scientists have finally deciphered this rambling message using a decryption program that they came across on the deep web. The letter was supposedly written by Sister Maria Crocifis. Dang it, they got me again. Della Concezione at the monastery of Palma di Montecherio in the early hours of August 11th in 1676. The following morning, she awoke covered in ink and claimed that she had been possessed by Satan, who forced her to write the message. And at the time, claims like this were taken very seriously. This is from the IFing Love Science website here. However, no one could work out what the letter said because it was written in a rumbled, archaic alphabet. Italian News Radio 105 had reported. Now the letter has made its way into the hands of Ludum Science Center in Catania, who have been deciphering the symbols using a code-breaking software found on the deep web. They said, "We heard about the software, which we believed is used by intelligence services for code breaking," said Daniel Abate, director of the Ludum Science Center. "We primed the software with ancient Greek, Arabic, and runic alphabet and Latin to descramble some of the letter and show that it really is devilish. They have already translated 15 lines of the letter." So keep in mind, this letter was written by this woman in this night of possession in 1676.
Way before this.
Yeah. It's 2017, and we still haven't decrypted it yet.
Yeah.
They've translated 15 lines already.
Yeah.
Okay? And so far, their work has revealed that the letter speaks of the relationship between God, Satan, and humans. It reads, "God thinks he can free mortals. This system works for no one. Perhaps now, Styx is certain." It goes on to try and convince the nun to abandon her faith, arguing that God is merely the invention of man and that Jesus and the Holy Ghost are dead weights. That is... I have goosebumps. Like, seriously, that's crazy, right?
That's weird.
Now, I did read that article because it was awesome.
Yeah.
But, the thing that got me most about it was, by the way, with the help of the deep web, we have now proved in God and Satan.
Yeah.
But...
And we're getting into that.
Oh. Never mind.
About what they're claiming is the reason why she did it?
Yeah. Even though we've proven that, but by the way, it's not that.
Yeah, exactly. Where is it
what?
here? Okay, so this is exactly what IFing Love Science wrote. Still, the question remains, why or how did the nun manage to write this? Well, first of all, the researchers have reason to believe the woman was suffering from bipolar disorder, so she could be prone to experiencing delusions or hallucinations. Bipolar. Two somethings. Wouldn't that be the definition of possession if you're going through that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, for crying out loud. Yeah, she's experiencing multiple personality disorder. Yeah, because Satan has taken over part of her freaking body. For crying out loud. But she was also familiar with several languages and spent a lot of her time studying linguistics. First of all, okay, we're talking about times of philosophers and stuff like that, right? Yeah. I mean, honestly. And you're telling me that some nun in a monastery came up with something that was so undecodable that we haven't managed to do something until now with software?
Yeah. If she would have just...
online,
which if they still had,
deep
you
web,
could make an argument in, but the fact that they're translating it and it makes sense...
Yeah.
I mean, even just for,
that it goes along with what she claimed.
It's reasonable to assume the rest is eventually going to make sense, so it's not like it was, some
gives you the heebie-jeebies, man.
Yeah, I mean, even if she's well versed in different languages, if she was just writing this, and it would have been decoded a long time ago.
According to his article, people have been looking at this since it was written.
And didn't they say that one of the languages they fed in was Sumerian?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Which was a language that existed so far before 300, 400 years ago that, I mean, I would imagine even then, it wasn't exactly a practice for spoken language or taught language,
Greek, Arabic, runic alphabet, and Latin.
That's what I read.
But there could be other stuff in there as well because they just fed it all in, and it still hasn't all been decoded yet.
Yeah.
So they're still working on it.
They'll publish it. I hope they do.
Why don't they publish it to let everyone try to? How long is it? Does it say?
No, but it says it's already translated 15 lines of this thing. So to me, I mean, I'm blown away because I'm reading this and I'm thinking to myself, like that amount of time to decode something that happened in one night, by a faithful nun in a monastery, that it takes this long to decode and then it doesn't end up being gibberish, which is what you pointed out. I mean, to me, this reinforces
that's crazy.
This reinforces the God argument, right, and religion argument. And for I effing love science. I mean, we rip into them all the time, but the fact is, like these people that are so. I love science. I've said it before with you guys.
Yeah.
Science, to me, proves faith even more, right? Because the more microscopic you go and see how designed everything is, and the further out you look into the galaxy and universe and how big everything is, right? Just shows to me that there's a designer there, right? And that everything works perfectly with each other, that our planets in our specific solar system aren't colliding with each other and we're flying off the edges of it.
In the last 10 years, it's been my most favorite time for science versus God clash, because every time they make an argument, something comes out. Like they'll say, okay, the Big Bang Theory, except where did it come from? Where did the rock come from? Doesn't make sense. And then some scientist comes out and goes, oh, by the way, here's this theory. I just proved it. You can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
We'll go with that one.
We'll go with it. And there's just, but then it gets buried, and there's always some, but it was bipolar.
We're talking about being buried. I think scientists did come out within the last year or two and said that the Big Bang Theory has now been proven false.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
I said that's why it's always been the Big Bang Theory and never the Big Bang Fact.
Yes. So
proof that there's God, and, there's evidence for proof towards God and the devil, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, what I was about to say there is the fact that, if you argue against the norm in science, if you even question climate change or even parts of climate change, or if you believe in God, you're criticized and demonized, no pun intended, over what you're saying, and science has to rule the day, and it's always theories. It's never, because it's always fluid. Science is never wrong. They just readjust their findings and everything else, But I love science. I think it proves a lot of things. I happen to believe that it proves further down the line for my own faith, but it doesn't work the other way around, right? You come up with something like this, which is that should blow anyone's mind, what just happened there, right? But instead they're like, well, she was bipolar and knew other languages. What the? After hundreds of years, it took that long for intelligent people?
And they said that they've been trying to, they offered a reward.
Yes.
They offered a reward to anybody who could decipher it. And it was something pretty substantial, especially
at least thousands of dollars.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
And they were giving it to scholars and everything else, and nobody could touch it.
Anything on that?
How did they know she was bipolar back then? Were there psychiatrists back then?
Well, no, with all the extensive evidence and having had interviewed her, and she's seen a psychologist now 300 years later.
They're assuming. They made things we don't do here.
First of all, who's to say that she wasn't a priest?
Yeah, right.
I fall into the trap,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that to me. That's the story of the night for me. I'm still completely blown by that.
Cool. I think that's the media, just like everything, we'll steer it in a direction, and anytime there's something that's legitimate science that points it's classified as fringe science.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if there's a theory like the Big Bang Theory that supports their narrative, then it's a theory, but it's a sound theory.
Yeah.
Accepted by the scientific community.
Yeah, absolutely.